Happy Friday, everybody. Thanks again for joining for another PWA Studio Community Sync. We have a pretty light agenda today for demos. And I think just a couple of topics to go through. So we'll run through those. We'll open up for questions, of course, at the end. And then we'll kind of get on with our Friday and our weekend. So first, I think we have Mr. James Calcaban on the line, who's going to run through some new dev docs content that's been created. Are you with us, Timothy?
Yes, I am here. Can you hear me?
We can, yep.
Cool. Let me share my screen. Can you see my screen? I'll take that as a yes. So a few updates on docs. We have published reference documentation on all the work that the team's done for the standalone cart page. You can find these in both the Peregrine API and Venia UI API sections. They have their own little shopping cart section in the navigation. Basically, this is reference style documentation that describes the different components and functions that are available through the public API. I've added examples to help you get started for some of these components. There are also descriptions for the props that these components expect. More useful ones are the Peregrine API because they have actual examples, boilerplate code examples to help you get started. I've also included links to useful files like the queries, so you can see what the GraphQL looks like on some of these talons that are calling these mutations and queries. There's also links to the source code to get a better idea of what's going on inside each of these files. I think that's it for the reference documentation. Are there any questions on that? No questions? All right. So the other update is our routing tutorial has been updated to use the extensibility framework. This is the PR, and the significant thing about this is, we've removed an entire section where you have to override the routes component and all the different components that you would normally have to pull from Venia, and instead you just have to create an intercept file, and you can find that updated tutorial over here. Add a static route. So basically what the tutorial looks like now is you create a greeting page module, create an intercept file, and then you register the intercept file. And that looks something like this. Oops. Anyways, it looks something like this. You got your module here and local intercept here. Yeah, I guess I should have built this earlier, but that's basically what that looks like. Any questions on that tutorial? Nope. All right, I'll stop sharing. Back to you, Andrew.
Awesome, thanks, Timothy. We've obviously Timothy's been doing a lot of really great work on dev docs, updating a lot of the content, especially with regards to some of the newer concepts like extensibility, and then really working to get some of that tutorial content out there. So definitely appreciate any of the feedback from the community. If there are topics that you don't see that you want to see in there, reach out to us and let us know. James is always on top of that, so thanks again for all your hard work and for that demo, James. So up next we have Tommy, who is going to show us some of the work he's been doing for the new My Account section.
All right, thank you, Andrew. Yeah, so it's been a few weeks since we've done kind of a community sync, so a lot of progress has happened kind of in scope of the My Account work. Um, so let me first do the demo, and then I can talk about some fun stuff that's going on behind the scenes. So um, I'm going to assume everybody can see what I'm doing. So I'm just going to log in. Um, just in case you're not a regular watcher of the community sync, we have this new kind of, once you log in, we have a new section here. When you're on desktop mode, it's replicated over here as well. So let's see, what should I do first? Favorites or order history? Um, I'll do order history. It's at the top. So, order history, we have this brand new kind of, the only thing that is completed is this collapsed view. So you'll see if I expand this, it's kind of going to say, oh, there's still some work to be done. But this is just a pretty simple kind of collapsed view of all your order history, giving you just high level details about what you ordered, cool little like collapsed image gallery, and then kind of this progress bar to let you know where it is in the kind of delivery fulfillment process. So I think there's kind of like a um, when it's first placed, I think it says processing. When it's invoiced, it goes ready to ship. When it's shipped, it goes shipped, and then delivered is your final state. Um, it's This is easily customizable if there are additional steps that fit into kind of your fulfillment process. So definitely it's something that can be adjusted. And then like anything that we do, this is all completely responsive. So you'll see there, once you hit a specific breakpoint, it kind of breaks down nicely for mobile devices. And then you'll see, hopefully that's coming through on the Blue Jeans okay, that when you go kind of all the way as small as you can go, it still looks nice and you still get all of that content that you would expect to see. Um, so that I'm going to talk about behind the scenes for order history really quick, and then we'll go on to wish list. So the really cool thing about this is there was another feature that I think we talked about, wish list, I think it was, where that's wish list is GraphQL coverage coming in 2.4.2. Order history is very similar. I think there was like some uh, like a very high level order history GraphQL endpoint, but they ended up redoing it, and it's coming in 2.4.1. Since our support matrix supports 2.4.0 and 2.4.1, we can't exactly release this feature just yet, but we didn't want to hold up development. So one of the cool things that I was able to do, I was actually able to develop against a 2.4.1 beta backend. So I did all of this against live data, but then to kind of merge this in and feel like it's not something that's going to break everybody's instance, this is the super powerful Apollo directive that says return client data. So this is the exact query that you would use for a live backend, and all you have to do is remove this client directive, and then this thing is wired up and working just as you see it now, but with live data. So really cool that we're able to like complete these features ahead of GraphQL, even though the coverage is coming in 2.4.1, which should be out here in the next month or so. I think early October is the release on that. So it's really neat that we're able to complete these features, and then as soon as that GraphQL coverage is released, we're just going to come in here and remove this client tag, and then we can close this feature out as actually completed. And then you'll see here in the meantime, we're kind of just mocking that response. But it was nice having a real backend because I really just pulled the actual response that I got from some of my live systems. So pretty cool stuff there. Any questions about order history?
I think Lars had a question in the chat.
I can't see the chat. Sharon, can you?
Yes,
It's already answered.
okay.
He
Okay.
already answered with the question was where do you get a state, because it's was not able to get the state before the new release of GraphQL, and this was why I was wondering.
Yep. And I think the beta is out for 241. I think open to partners,
Yeah,
so you should
yeah,
have
it
access
is.
to that now, and you can take a look at that. I will kind of, Lars, I know you're going to tap into this immediately. I will say that I think there is a known bug with that coverage right now where um, they currently are returning variant SKUs. So there's an issue with this image gallery where
Hmm.
with a variant SKU, I can't go out and like fetch images for it. So I think there's an issue with like configurable products and displaying images, but they're aware of that, and before we toggle this feature on, they should have it solved. So that should be not a problem by the time this goes live.
Yeah, cool. But it looks very nice. Thank you.
All right, and yeah, I love the responsiveness. I just do this all day. Go. Okay. All right, moving on to wish.
Another question real quick from Chris on the chat. Sorry, Tommy.
Yeah.
He asked, are we adding links to dedicated order view pages or links to the invoices and shipments?
So there is a kind of a full view. So this is the collapse view. This is kind of just um, a little piece of what's available. I think we also have pagination coming. I know that's very top of mind for everybody in the community that we don't want to grab everything from the back end, especially if you have like 1,000 orders. So pagination is coming as well. And then in this full view, I think I think Ravant's working on it right now. He might be able to provide more detail, but I think it's going to have like invoice details. I think you can download invoices. I don't think there's going to be like a dedicated order view. It's all going to be like in this little accordion kind of thing. But you should be able to get all of that information here. So the idea is it's kind of like a collapsed list, and then when you want to see more detail, you expand it and you can see all that detail.
Yeah, except that I would add there's a print option. So if you want to print only a certain order, you can print it like one of the features that you would write off get off of a separate page. You can still do it, but there is no dedicated page for a given order.
Cool. All right. Any other chat?
Yeah, Chris had made the comment, and Chris, it's a good comment and something we'll definitely evaluate on the UX side. That it might be, once we're in the expanded view, it could be a lot of data, especially if we start looking at multiple invoices or multiple shipments per order. Both good points. So we'll have to take that into account. We talked about that some in the design phase of if worried about the bloat of the expanded table as the data kind of gets a little bit larger in there. So we'll definitely go back and take a look at that, and it's something that we'll of course have to iterate over time. But I think in terms of just what we're trying to get out here in this first pass, we felt good about with the design on the table. But good points.
All right. Anything else before I move on to wish list? All right. Okay, so wish lists. In Vinea, we are calling them favorites lists, but I think we've heard feedback in the past that the components themselves are still called wish lists. The GraphQL endpoint is still called wish lists, but we're going to call it favorites. So this is kind of the just a progress for wish lists. So this isn't completely done yet. I think before it was kind of just a collapse thing. Now we have some product detail. So in your wish list, you'll see kind of items that have been added. You have the ability to add these items to your cart. So you'll see it just ding that counter there. Not a lot of fanfare for adding to the cart. There's some discussion around whether if I add an item from my wish list to my cart, should it be removed from my wish list? But there's going to be action items in here for moving items, copying items to other wish lists, and deleting items. So right now it's a manual thing, but it's up for discussion if that's going to continue to operate that way. And then I always love doing the kind of responsive things. So this is neat where it kind of has, it uses kind of the the image as a basis for how many kind of products it'll be able to fit into here before it starts overflowing to the next row. So you'll see that it kind of like will continue to grow. Like it's like here I can fit 4, here it's like 3, here it's 2, and then that's kind of like as small as we're gonna go. And then if you go down like super small to like a iPhone SE, it still breaks down really nicely to like a 2x2 kind of grid. We do have pagination coming for this as well, but that was also feedback for the GraphQL team. I think there's a lot of GraphQL endpoints where they just kind of did not include pagination functionality. So this is one of the endpoints where currently pagination, well, actually, this is coming in 2.4.2, so this is mock data. So we can build pagination in even if GraphQL doesn't have it right now. So that may just happen, but for right now, it's just going to display all of the items in that wish list and kind of just break out into multiple rows. I think the assumption is wish list maybe won't grow to be that large, but if that does become something where like a wish list will have hundreds of items, maybe like a wedding registry or something like that could have a ton of items. Yeah, you might want to have like some pagination there, some kind of different UI, so it's not just an entire page of wish list. So you can easily paginate through that. But this is the progress so far. This is what we're calling the main view. There's different stories. You'll see here to be handled by another story. This one also to be handled by another story. So just the progress so far. Again, this is coming in 2.4.2, so this data is mocked, but we're coding it against the approved architecture for these endpoints. So it should be very similar to order history, that once this endpoint is finally released, we just remove a client tag, and this thing is off to the races. So not much here. Just some really cool responsive stuff, but nothing else really too crazy. So, any questions about wish list, favorites lists?
Yeah, we have a question from Chris that I can't recall in our requirements how we implemented, but clicking on the dress or clicking on the product image, will it go to the PDP? And I can't remember if we decided that it would, or if that action would have to occur after you add it to cart.
So currently it does not. I know we went back through and like a lot of views like cart page and maybe not checkout, but I know cart page we went back and made sure that kind of images and product names were linkable. There'd be a small issue with that right now, at least in the scope of configurable items, where I don't think we put selected configurable options in the URLs, so I don't think a product with a specific configuration would be navigable. You can't navigate directly to a configured product. So that is something we'd have to do to support that. But once that was in place, then yeah, we could. Yeah, so we would need to persist these color and size selections to the URL, and then we could link to those directly. Could probably say the same for like cart. Like I guess if you're in the cart, and I guess it's only slightly annoying that it doesn't pre-select your options, but I maybe expect that those should be pre-selected. But I think Andrew, we have a big product page overhaul coming, so I'm sure that will be included. And if it's not, here is your reminder to include that, so we can directly navigate to configured products.
It'll be included.
Okay. And I guess while we have Chris, like what would the preferred behavior be there? Would you want to directly navigate to products from the wish list, or is adding to cart probably sufficient here? Like you're probably just gonna go to the product page and add it anyway.
I'm trying to remember exactly what happens in regular Magento. I don't know if there's an option to edit where you could change the option and then save it in. Maybe you wanted a different size or a different color or something added to your wish list. Yeah, or if that was something we had.
good
But
question.
definitely linking to something with a pre-selected option is what we would like.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll take note of that. I'm sure that's possible, and I'm sure that's probably exists today. Oh, geez. Don't look at my sample data. So yeah, it does exist today that yeah, you can directly navigate to a product and it's directly navigatable. This is the best config product too, by the way. Um, all right, so we'll take a note of that and make sure that you can yeah, link to products from this page, and probably on the cart page as well. You want to navigate directly to what you've actually selected and not the base product. All right.
All right, thanks, Tommy. Any other questions for Tommy? Awesome. Well, thanks, Tommy, again. Yeah, my account is definitely coming along in terms of our progress there. Just a quick update on the rest of the work that we're doing. We still have a lot of effort and a lot of movement on internationalization and localized content. So Obsessive Owl's team is working diligently to get that done. We do have an upcoming release that's going to come in. That's going to be released in line with gosh, I can't even remember my release version numbers right now. With the next Magento core release, right? So that's coming up. You'll see in that release that we have a lot of the things that we've kind of demoed or gone over recently that weren't in 7.0. Things like the Apollo upgrade, mini cart refactor, some of the new branding and styling that didn't make it in 7.0 will be like the header styling will make it in the next release. As well as a lot of the quality and bug fixes that we've done. In terms of my account and internationalization, we're figuring out a strategy for how we release that, but kind of in the same vein of cart and checkout. They're incomplete, so release what we have, but kind of hide it or feature flag it off until it's more complete, and then we fully release it in a subsequent release. So that's kind of the plan there. You'll hear more from us, get more detail on that as we get closer to the release. But just a heads up that is coming. The other thing, no, I guess I covered it. So my account internationalization, that's happening. And then I guess we'll go to Lars or Tommy. Any updates on Community Corner? Any updates on any progress of what the community is working on with in terms of contribution?
Yeah, currently it's not much to say there. It's really quiet from the community side. I think Hyken works on a couple of tickets, but this is all movements, what I see currently on the board.
Yep. We have kind of a power contributor right now in Huikon, who is helping with the My Account Epic. I think account information is progressing nicely, and probably for the demo next week, we'll cover that. And if they want to do that demo, we'll invite them to do that as well. Otherwise, we'll kind of run through that for them. And then, yeah, we've made an effort to try to make public some of the items in like our internal backlog, bringing them to GitHub, just to kind of bring over some things that don't shake out as priorities to us, just because we have a ton of features that we have to complete, but things that are still important enough that we want the community, if they are able to assist with some of those bugs. So we've been moving a lot of bugs over, and Hui's jumped on those like immediately. I think there's like 4 PRs of theirs up right now that we are processing. So we're going to continue working through that. We're going to continue trying to funnel a lot of fun stuff into that prioritized column, and then I think we have some movement with extensibility that should be coming soon as well.
If I can add something to that, Tommy,
Yep.
we've also updated our README in the PWA Studio repository. I'll share my screen real quick. We're now posting our top community contributors based on statistics from Magento Engineering. You can click on that to get a breakdown of where we're getting these numbers from. You can get, an idea of, how much the community is contributing to the project. I thought that was interesting for people who are interested in that kind of data. Keep track of, points and all that. So
Nice. That's awesome. Yeah, I saw that when community demoed that, but our repo wasn't hooked up yet. But good to see that that's finally hooked up.
yeah, so you can get to it through this link, and we'll try to keep this list updated, as often as we can. So.
Sweet.
Lars is probably fine not updating it just to keep him on top.
Leaderboard.
I do my best on stay on top. Nobody will reach me.
All right, so yeah, so if you're interested in getting on that leaderboard, if you're interested in working with us on any of the kind of open items that Tommy spoke to, just reach out to us. Let us know. Reach out through GitHub or reach out through Slack. Of course, we're not. We hear the feedback from the community that I think developers want to work on more than bugs. To be fair, I think there are some really exciting. There's some exciting work within the bugs. There are front end components that we open bugs against. There's front end work as well as some of the kind of back end or more developer focused work. But also, if you're really interested in a specific a work stream that we have going on, whether it's internationalization, whether it's my account, or any of our upcoming features, just reach out, and we're happy to try to find a way to pull in interested parties and provide them some work, which of course we're happy to receive as well. So I think that's it for in terms of community updates. I think last thing that I have on my side, so this will be the last community sync that I'm on for the next few months. My wife and I are going to have our second child next Friday, so I will miss a series of community syncs, but we do have Eric, who I think will be maybe stepping back in, or we have Andy, who has led some of these calls before, and you guys have seen his face, so we'll of course figure out who's going to be hosting. Maybe we'll bring in some special guest hosts. I don't know. It'll get crazy on the call. But the community syncs will continue. We'll make sure that we figure out how to make sure that all the Blue Jeans links and all the kind of logistics are in place to handle this cutover. But then I will see you guys going into next year. So that's it from my side. Any other questions, updates from anybody on the call? Awesome. Okay, great. Well, hey, everyone have a great Friday. Stay safe. Have a great weekend, and then we will see you all next week. Or I won't see you next week, but everyone else will see you next week.
Great. Thanks, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Have a nice weekend and a nice vacation, Andrew.
Thanks, Lars.
Bye.
See ya.